Hey, it's Kari, Rhymes with Atari. I want to record a quick video today before I start my day. I just finished recording a podcast. Normally I'll do a bit of drawing before I jump onto this, but I wanted to do this now. I'm doing these on Wednesdays, apparently. Just quick. I'm not editing them. I'm just going. This is like a little view into my studio during my breaks. And I wanted to talk today about the cover that is available. Legends of the Dark Knights Metal #1 that hit. I want to walk you through how I did that cover. It's out today. As of now, it's very hard to find. 1 out of 25. Oh, it's a 1 to 25 ratioed cover. And it has become very expensive on eBay. I don't know. I got 3 of them sent to me from DC. I'm going to give at least one of them away today on this YouTube thing. I'm going to let it run until Monday. But to be eligible to get this free cover, I want you to subscribe to this channel. If you've already subscribed, unsubscribe and subscribe again, and then make one comment below. So if I see you have the combination of a new subscriber and a comment below, I'm going to randomly pick one person to give this cover, which is currently valued like $400 on eBay. I only have 3 of them. I'm going to give at least one away with this video. So let me walk you through how I created this cover. As usual, the assignment came to me through DC. I don't know much about these characters, to be honest. But they sent me some reference, and it's a clickety-clacky mouse. Here's what I did for layouts. I had 3 ideas. I usually try to do 3. I try to do 3 ideas that I can, I want to be happy with each of them. One, I have the Batman who smiles reading a book called The Legends of the Dark Knights to the Robin King. And you see the bat dinosaur in the background here. The next one is just kind of more of a portraiture. Oh my goodness. Sorry. Getting texts while I'm doing this. This is live. It's so live. It's live. This is a portrait of the cover here, and this is the one that they picked. I called Burn Baby, and it is our 3 characters standing in the flames and ruins with the city behind them. Now, when I do these layouts, I try to do them as quickly as possible. They do take time, but I'm not really trying to impress anyone with my drawing skills. I want to get as much of information as possible as quickly as possible. That's the goal. Here's the trick. Never submit a cover you wouldn't want to actually draw. I hear all the time from my artist friends, of course they picked the one I didn't want to do. Well, then why did you submit it? These are no one made you submit that cover, so choose one you want to do. Let me go here. Once this was approved, I started to work on this one. This one here to the right, Burn Baby Burn. And they sent me some reference, very little reference. I'll show you one that I can show you here. This, Greg Capullo released this on his Instagram, this picture. This is his pencils for the Robin King. And there was another quick character design. I haven't seen it on social media, so I'm not going to share it. But it was even rougher than this. Like, these are pencils, right? So you can kind of... But there's a lot of questions here, like a lot of questions when I get this kind of reference. And I don't know the character, but I can see... I can see feathered shoulders. I can see gauntlets. I can see the design was more clear that these are robin skulls. So first thing is I start trying to collect reference. Here's a robin skull. And the reference is really, it does 2 things. It lets me figure out exactly how to draw something, but it also leads me towards new ideas. So the more you investigate something, the more ideas and inspiration unravel. And that's why I find this so addictive to look through reference, just search for those images. Because it really starts building up excitement to draw things. Here's some gauntlets. I found not to draw these gauntlets particular, but really what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to just see how light interacts with this kind of a surface, really, and see how these gauntlets are constructed. Like you can see here the overlapping shapes here. The way that overlaps is specific and interesting, and it's actually the opposite of what you might think. You might think it overlaps the other way, but the way the metal is overlapping is what makes it work. So I think it's interesting to find out. Here's another one. This is a darker surface, but again, you can see the reflective qualities of metal. What about the costume? Well, here's our man here. Yeah. This I actually also ordered this outfit. Maybe I'll wear it tomorrow while I'm drawing, just for inspiration. Especially in these hot summer in August, it's really going to be good to draw in this thing. You can see the way this kind of like PVC jacket works. The specs are really bright and really hard, and there's not a lot of gradient. There's not a lot of form because it's so dark, but the specs are really like bing, 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 and bing, 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 bing. So you try to absorb all that. Try to absorb all that information as you journey on your cover. I also took some photos of myself and kind of like, I'm not going to share those because I'm too embarrassed. You can see me here. Hi. But I'll set up some simple lighting, and I'll just try to do like a pose, and it's very loose. I'm actually just looking for some clues on how I want to light things. And I end up with this line drawing here. Now I've already decided in the line drawing that I want to paint this on paper, but what I've started to do is do more of a underdrawing on my computer. I'm constantly looking for ways to balance the digital and the practical when I do a practical cover, when I do a real media cover, because I still like drawing on the computer quite a lot, but I want the limitations of paper to inform the painted style. I want to butt up against like, that the paper can only handle so much paint. Like I want those limitations because limitations make style, and fighting against limitations, that friction is what you're looking for in your art. You're looking to give yourself a chance to fail, and you're looking to pitch yourself up against that failure and dance the razor's edge of almost failing. Like that just embedded in that approach will give you dynamic art. If things are too safe, which is why I think sometimes digital art leaves us so cold. It's not even cold. It's just like, shrug, like meaningless. Like it's not even like, it can be like, oh, that's good, moving on. It's because I think you don't have that embedded danger in the art. Where it's a painting, if I'm doing a painting on paper, there's always the danger that I'll spill paint, that I'll fail, that I'll get too much paint on the paper to then be able to draw back onto with colored pencils, which is this approach. I wanted to do a kind of a Drew Struzan-esque approach in terms of what that is. And what that is basically is you have a grayscale drawing that you tint with airbrush paints and then draw back into with colored pencil and then paint on top of that and then draw back into with colored pencil, and you get this layered effect that mixes different approaches. You can't quite tell how it's made sometimes. You feel the hand of the artist. It's not just cold, but it's also a very technical approach because drawing by pencil gives you a more technical ability to draw out shapes, whereas painting often is gestural and like swaths of paint and impressions of paint, where because drawing is such a pointed surface, it's like more of a technical approach, which is why someone like a Drew Struzan will be like, if that style, the more technical of an artist you are, like Struzan is, the more you can make that a great piece of art. Whereas maybe someone like I don't know, think of your favorite painter. It's more of a gestural approach that then suggests precision, but you're not actually painting precision. You're painting to affect the impression of precision. Like if you zoom in on a Frank Frazetta painting, it's there is a gestural approach to his paintings, which is why they're so powerful, because it's like blah, blah, like blah. But I can think of no greater opposite Drew Struzan than a Frank Frazetta. Even though Frazetta can be a very technical artist. If you look at his penciled pieces, where he's just doing pencil rendering. Again, his pencil is more of a technical tool. This is how I'm just talking about them. I'm not talking about scientific terms. I'm talking about my artistic definitions. Paint is more as impressionistic. So knowing that I'm going to be tinting and then drawing highlights with Real Media, I really needed just kind of a base, and I didn't want to work too much out on the computer. But I have started experimenting with just throwing some simple quick tones on the computer. Let me zoom in here. So you can kind of see I've indicated some of the lighting. I've drawn some shapes. You can see these hard lines are actually like Photoshop line tools to keep them crisp. You know, here's some areas they're overlapping. You know, it's I'm just trying to get it down and not trying to spend too much time, because you can get lost in this stuff. I just want to show you the kind of detail that is in this, and I'm changing my approach every time. I don't have a way to do things. I'm constantly changing how I do things with every cover. For better or worse, that's how I like to roll. And then what I did is I printed this out onto 4 sheets of watercolor paper, 4 17 by 22 pieces of watercolor, and then I jammed them all together, and then on a easel, scientific term, I then sprayed them with airbrush colors, and then started attacking them with a colored pencil, and then sprayed them and had a brush. Usually I used a brush to really start picking details out. And I came up with this, I scanned it back in. I then disassembled all the four pieces of paper, scanned them back in, and then reassembled them. It's a very time-consuming, laborious thing. But here's what I like about it. Like, look at this face. It is a dance between precision and impression. Maybe those aren't, because I use those other words in other ways. It's a dance between the unlimited ness of digital mark making versus the hard limits of Real Media. And I didn't adjust. I try not to adjust. I try not to paint back into it in the digital space, even though I can, because I want the limitations of the media to show, because those limitations are, again, what I think is a benefit and a strength to the art. So the more you can show the limitations and the fight against them, the more that's part of the art, the more it engages the viewer, I think, because they'll recognize the battle in the art, and it makes them lean in. But you can see, even if I zoom in here, like just the level of just spatter and paint and pencil and colored pencil, it creates a very interesting texture. Like, it's, like I keep zooming. The cool thing about Real Media is you keep zooming in, and there's still more things there, because it's such a layered approach. Whereas if this was all digital, as I zoomed in, things would probably get smooth or more sterile. So I'm very interested in new ways of doing things. I think part of Norman Rockwell's success was that he was one of the first artists to, and he he was criticized for it. First artist to use photographic reference for his paintings. And back then, it was very taboo for a fine artist to use photographic reference. No one cares anymore, or there's less care. But even when I was in art school, there was a real push to, or at least I believe, there was a push against using photographic reference. I wanted to draw everything by hand, and if I was using photographic reference, I would dare not trace it. I would just, either grit it out or eyeball it out and really make it, as hand-drawn as possible. And then you run across someone like Drew Struzan, who is literally tracing stills from a movie that someone else took for the covers. But he's still such a great artist that his technical ability pushes through that mechanism. So in today's world, what's the equivalent of doing that thing you're not supposed to do? Well, 3D models. I put a lot of 3D models into my art because it's new, it's taboo, it's interesting, it's a new way to do it. And that was the case. Now everyone's doing digital art. So for me now, what I find is the way I want to do it is I'm always looking for the thing that other people aren't doing. I don't know. It's a character flaw. But it's the way I go. So no one's making airbrush covers anymore, right? Like, who's airbrushing covers anymore? It had its heyday 30 years ago, and no one does anymore. But that's why. That's a reason to do it. That's a reason to do it. There's a reason to, like, break out your oil paints or, like, get your watercolors or get your pastels or whatever. Like, I'm always looking for the thing that no one else is doing. Why? I don't know. It's an urge I have. I constantly, if I feel like too many people are doing a thing, I just feel like I don't feel inspired. I have a real urge not to be part of the masses. Whether I'm directing movies or drawing comics or whatever, any kind of art making, I always am looking for the thing that other people aren't doing. The last movie I directed is Sniper Assassin's End. I just recorded a podcast for it this morning, but it's a little action movie, and I love that no one's doing action movies anymore. Like, I mean, there's a couple movies that do have Extraction with Chris Hemsworth or John Wick with Keanu Reeves, but not really. Like, when I was a kid, action movies were like the pack, and there were no superhero movies. Super movies were all like exceptions. Now it's the opposite, where everything is a superhero movie. Action movies are the exception, but that's why I want to do one. Like, I don't know. I can't even explain it, but I'm always interested in the thing that no one else is doing. Like, hey, little studio talk before I start my day. So, I'm going to give away this cover. Hey, look at that. Found a button. I'm going to give away this cover. It's worth $400 American just once. I'm really bad at mailing things out. Like, oh my God. But I do owe some packages out. So, subscribe, leave a comment, and I will get a hold of you, and I'm going to give one of these bad boys away. $400 value. Oh my goodness. I'm going to buy some subscribers here. I guess I could sell it on eBay and just use one of those web services to buy 400 subscribers from like some country across some Russian bot. But I'm looking for real subscribers who really like this stuff. So as I slowly dip my toes into the U in the tube, I'd rather buy you. All right, thanks for sticking with me while I talk about this this cover, and I'll see you next time. Peace, love. Make some art. Super Chopper Studios.